Hello, hello, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at Folklore February, which is created and hosted by Kat's Novel Adventures on YouTube as well as on her Discord. And this is an interesting one in that the only really thing you have to do at all is participate in something folkloric. So you can watch a movie or read a book or consume any kind of media whatsoever that has to do with folklore, fairy tales, etc., and you have technically participated. But she has created a bingo board that will allow us to participate as a group on the Discord and sort of discuss what books you're reading for each of the different categories and what activities we're doing, because half of them are activities and half of them are books. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. I had a request recently to sort of create the entire journal so you can see how that process goes rather than just plugging them in as we go through. And since this is such a short one and the number of books needing to be selected, I figured this is a perfect one to do so it's not crazy long to do both of those things in the same video. Preparations I've already done ahead of time is download, or upload, I mean, all the graphics that are available for this particular challenge. And then I pulled a couple of sort of blank that I can quickly grab that are from other things, because that's often what I do. So if I use any of these pieces, I'll show you how to get to there, but it makes it easier than having to recreate everything completely from scratch. So hopefully that's all right. Okie I guess there's one more thing I did, which was to type out all of the things that I wanted to include when it comes to the actual prompts and etc., because that'll make things way faster. But generally when I am doing that, I am doing that at the same time. So I believe the Word document took me about half an hour-ish to do, and now we're going to be jumping into the fun part, which is creativity and thinking about where things are going to go, what colors work best, all that stuff. I kept it originally in the same purple I had from the Romancepoly because that's where I pulled these slides from and sort of just adjusted a couple things. So we will likely be changing colors in general. So the first thing I want to do is try to decide what exactly thematically I want to go with. This is the main graphic, and generally I would just go with whatever the main graphic is and work from there. But she also has this beautiful graphic that was on, I'll move this out of the way, was on her announcement, and I'm like, well, I think that I have this on Canva or something very similar. I could go with this vibe, but I'm really liking this because she has a couple other things that are in this one, because you can see these guys here with the same little fox and similar color schemes as a couple of other things she has. So I'm leaning towards this color. As we go through it, I may change my mind, but for now, that's what we're going to go with. I'm probably not going to use this. I will sort of pop it over here just so that I know. Actually, no, I'm just going to delete it. I can make it again if I need to. All right, so I always put the creator's YouTube on the bottom in case anyone is looking for that when we're going through it. And I leave that there. I'm going to make this a little larger, and that probably works. All right, so next is picking the background color. And one of the great things about Canva is that you can like literally see, it doesn't have all the colors, but it has a good chunk of the colors right here that I could pick. So I could go with a pink background, but I have a lot of pink. Oh, no, yellow. This one's pretty. I like this like mauvey color, or we could go red, but it clashes pretty significantly with the other colors, but it matches our fox, so it kind of ties it together. And then this is the color of the text, which is also a nice color, but I really think I like this mauve. That's how you say that, right? Mauve? Mauve? I think it's mauve. And then I need to pick a color for my text here, which we're going to do similar. I could make it, oh no, that's not a good choice. me turn the effects off so that I can see what it actually looks like without being outlined, because I might like that. Other options would be this one, which is nice because it pulls all of the text together, but I kind of want it to stand out a little bit. So I'm leaning towards that yellow. For now, we'll go with the yellow. I can come back and change it if I want to in the future. I also want to make it a little bit smaller so that I can center this a little bit more on the page. Yeah, I like that a little better. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make the rest of it the same mauve. Text will have to change as we go through. Okay, so next I want to explain what is going on in this particular challenge. So actually, I think I'm just going to pull this one over. Let's go with this. Do I like the yellow over here? Kinda. We'll see how it goes. And I'm going to call Folklore February. And then this text is going to be, maybe I'll go with, oh no, take the effect off. I don't need the effect in this case because the contrast is pretty good, but on some of them, the contrast isn't as good as I want, so I'll need to either put a shadow, like you can see up here under Folklore February, which you can change that. By the way, if you go into effects and you choose shadow, you can choose the color of it. So if I wanted to switch it to, say, yellow, another yellow, I could do that, or white, dark purple. Ooh, I kind of like that one. Anyways, I like this one. I think I'm gonna go with dark purple. So yeah, you can choose whatever color you want on that. There are a whole bunch of other effects you could choose in here. I usually stick with outline and shadow, because it's easier on both of these cases to read, and that's the purpose of them. But there are some cases I could see potentially using other ones for a fun effect, especially if you're going for anything like neon, or you're doing a kind of like retro vibe journal, maybe something that's taking place in like a sci-fi-a-thon kind of situation where you're going to be going into like 90s sci-fi, or what am I thinking? There's a movie in my head. I can't think of the name of it right now, but there's plenty of options in here to use other ways. Those are just the ones I typically go to the most. All right, so next, I will be putting in, I'm just going to copy paste it over, and then I'm going to need to probably adjust it because this was literally just what was stated in the video. So we're going to adjust Folklore February. Is a month-long readathon where we spend the month exploring folkloric stories and stories inspired by folklore. I like that. It's exactly, other than Folklore February, she said it's a month because it was from the YouTube video. I wanted to use as much of her language as possible because as you'll see in the video and in some of the stuff that I copied over, I really enjoyed her presentation style. So I wanted to sort of bring that vibe into my journal. And so for this, I kind of want to bring, hold on, I may have to do it as a separate, yeah, I think that's what I'm going to have to do. Okay, we're going to cut this. And then I'm going to duplicate, bring this down. And what I'm doing right now is I decided I wanted to have like a smaller sort of where it comes into the middle. I can't remember what it's called, like roots. Hey, this is what folklore is in the middle. And then I'm going to continue on with the rest of the statement. Does that make sense? Kind of like when you're looking at a textbook and it's like, here's your definition. Sort of the vibe I'm going with here. And I probably will adjust the fonts, but for now I'm going to go with what I have right here. But fonts is one of the last things I typically adjust. I want the My goodness gracious. I want the main parts to be there, like all of the data and all the information I want to keep presenting or keep track of for the future, or just like let's look on the next year, look back on it, right? So that's more important to me than the actual text font, that type of stuff. But I like this. I've used this on a couple of other ones, or at least similar like handwriting style ones. I really like handwriting ones, but I may come back and adjust it. I like this one particularly because it's a little bit chunkier. So you're not going to have very difficult to read things. Sometimes you get some of the handwriting ones and they're very thin, and so you can't really see them unless you make them very large. This one does decently. So, and instead of saying the goal, I'm going to say the goal of this challenge, I can type, is to explore the folklore genre by reading at least one folklore story or a story inspired by folklore. Cool. So I have here, what is Folklore February? I want to, that's not what I meant to do. Can I can, but it won't work for what I was going to do. Never mind. I'll just have to move this down a smidge. I don't like how it's so close to the top. I kind of want it to be a little bit further down. Does it matter? Probably not. Visually, I like that a little bit better. All right. So we've done our introduction. This is what the challenge is all about. This isn't always necessary in every type, but for something that is themed, especially if it doesn't already have an explanation graphic, I prefer sort of looking at it like this. All right, then I'm going to go to the next one, which is going to probably be, I'm trying to think, do I want to do the bingo board next? I have two different versions of the bingo board because she provided us a couple different ones. I believe this is like the Instagram version, or one of these is the Instagram version. I think it's this one. But I think I like this better because it'll stretch a little bit better. So I definitely need to have a page with this on it. I just don't know if I want it here. So I'll go ahead and make it. This is the other thing. Sometimes I'll change the color scheme if I need to. So like on this page, it doesn't look as pretty with the mauve. I mean, the mauve is still nice, but I could go pink and make it so it looks like it's just part of the story, and I can move it wherever I want. So I could put it over here and then have a whole nother thing over here. Like I could have put all of this data, and I may go back, but no, I'm not going to. I could put all of that information or something else altogether over here, and it'll look like it's all part of the thing. So that's an option. For now, we're going to leave it here because I'm not sure what I want to do with it. I know I want to utilize it. I just don't know how. All right. Next will probably be, I have two different thoughts. Well, we're definitely going to start with our reading prompts. And I literally wanted to go into this kind of as blank as possible. All I did was type out the information that was there so I could easily copy paste it rather than having to like clunkily write it and be listening to something in the background and then download all the stuff. I purposely went in without as much thought on it, if that makes sense. But because the graphics literally just came out and I got home and I was like, oh, cool. This one may be the first one I decide to change colors like throughout the entire thing. It's so colorful. That could be a lot of fun. Anyway, I got distracted. So I'm going to put this one there. The other option I thought about, because I have this, is that I could put, so the first one was adventure. I could put the adventure graphic, and I just copied this from her YouTube, which is not always the best option. Put it at the top. And then I was going to put what adventure was. So her phrasing was here. Let me make a copy. Control X, Control V, copy, Okay. So this is what she stated in her introduction video. And my thought was literally just to have this here. One option would be like this. And then, actually that might work. We'll make a couple different options. Here's the first one. Actually, if we're going to do that as a couple different options, I'm going to do it the way I originally had it. Okay, so here's the first one. Then we can come over here and grab the actual one for adventure, which is this. I'm not sure that that's the route I want to go yet. And then we will pop in a picture holder here for a frame. That's the word. For us to easily pop the book in. A couple options for this. I could put a space for doing a review of the book or for the stats of the book. So like, this is what I rated it. This is how many pages it was. Da, 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 da. I could put that all on here. Or I could do something else and do two side by side. I think all the different things I could potentially do. There's so many options. Or I could do that, not that at all. She also created these little 4 squares. So they go with these 4, as you can see. And so I could just put a book in each of these to show what they all are. And I don't think I'm gonna go with that. I think I'm gonna go this route for now. But I mean, I could also just put the thing over here and say what it is. So I'm gonna grab this, bring it over. Maybe this is actually the way we're gonna go. I like this. I like how it looks. Let's go with that yellow again. And we are going to get rid of the effect. And then all of these guys obviously will go to the inside will be that mauve. That way it'll match. And the outside, I think I like the yellow. I usually use the same graphic, but you can use whatever you want. So how you make these, just as an FYI, you're going to go to your elements and then you're going to go to shapes. Pick whatever shape you want. So here's one shape. Now you're going to want to make sure the dimensions are going to work to hold a frame. So obviously stretch it to where it's a rectangle that looks approximately like a, what is that, like a almost 4 by 3, 4.5 by 3 ratio. I don't know, what is that ratio? It looks like, 1, 2, 3, like 5 by 3-ish. Anyway, so you have your frame, and then you're going to go, well, you have your shape. Then you're going to actually go into your frames, and you're going to pick your basic shape and fit it on the inside so that it is about the same all the way around. Ideally, it's exactly the same all the way around. And then you just are going to change the color. So you click on it and then come up here and pick whatever the same color was you did, and then it disappears. And when you go in to drag your design, well, let's pick a book. Let's go in here. This doesn't really matter what book we choose. Put the book in, and now you have a frame. And if you're doing it ahead of time, I find it's really easy because then I'm able to just grab it and create the entire thing, and I just drop it, and I can drop them in as I read them, or if something changes, I can just swap it out. I find it more difficult, personally, to have a, no, don't do that. Hold on, let me delete this. To have the picture of it and then try to get it to the correct proportions. This one was easy, but a lot of times it doesn't go as easily as that. And if I have them all there ready to go, like, let me show as an example. If I used Horror Store, it is not the same dimensions. So if I tried to do that, it would get not ideal, like, right? It's gonna get messed up. Now, if I drag and drop it in here, it's still going to cut off the edges, unfortunately. And that's just something I have to sort of decide if that I'm okay with that, I can move it over so that I can see the beginning, or if I want to make sure that I can see the entire author, which is probably how I would go with this one, I'd be like, okay, there we go, and go this route. So I just find that easier to do quickly than the other, so I'd rather already have it ready to go. You don't have to. Do whatever makes sense. Now, if you delete it, and you're just using the delete button, then it usually just deletes the actual photo, and then the frame is still there, which is another good thing about having the frame. All right, so I don't need the prompt there because the prompt is literally underneath. Now, another thing that the host put out there for us was some stuff that was on the Discord today, specifically giving us an idea of the prompt. So instead of having all of this, I could just have her like thoughts on what it could be, which is right here. I think I prefer the larger one, because she specifically said it is, however, makes sense to you to interpret the word adventure. It doesn't have to be exactly how she wants it. This is just an option of how to do it. So I think I'm going to go with the longer one because I do like how that was presented, and I think it's a lot of fun. It's almost like this is a story, and I am going to present it as such. Anyway, moving on. Do I want it to be these two colors? I am not sure that that is what I want. Ooh, no, 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 I don't like that one. Here you go. No, I don't think I like that either. I could go with this. This yellow. It's a nice yellow. That's kind of go. That's kind of pretty. What do you think? Should I go with this one, or should I go back to this color that you're seeing down here, which is like egg eggshell almost? Anyway, so we have the first one, and then I can literally just duplicate the page, and I just deleted this one since I'm not going to use it. That's all I did. Come in here and go back to the pictures that I had downloaded already, and the next one is animal. So I'm just going to grab animal, drag and drop. So it is much faster if you put in a little bit of extra sort of work at the offset at the beginning. That way it is quick when you're actually in here. But that is just the way I do it. There are 1,000,010 ways, and I probably don't even have the best. I definitely don't have the best, but this is how I keep it consistent from sort of page to page. Okay, so the next one is Amore, which is a really pretty fairy. Now, these are directly from the YouTube, so I had to screenshot them to grab them. If you want to use the ones that she has created, it is these guys, which are beautiful. I prefer a little bit different layout. Those would be great for using on posts. So when I go in to say in the chat that I finished the book for it, I'll probably grab those and create a graphic using that with a picture of my book inside, and then add maybe some like stars on the bottom or something. At least that is the thought. All right, so grab the terminology, put that on the bottom, and then we're gonna do our last one for this, which is abracadabra. All right, and then before we go on to the next section, which is the crafts and or other fun things to do, watch movies, etc. I'm going to go ahead and select the books that I have picked. I actually don't know if I've downloaded all the images. Hopefully I have. I didn't think about the books because I already, I tried to pull them from stuff I'm already wanting to do here soon. So I want to do Things Gods Break, and I do have that one, fabulous, and it's already been tagged. Even better. So we're going to go for adventure with the Things Gods Break. At least that's my first thoughts. I may change it out partway through because this one doesn't come in from the library or etc. as per usual. But that's the route I think I'm going to go with that one. Then for animal, which I guess I should probably say what adventure. An adventure is exciting, probably risky trip or undertaking. Character completing an impossible task, going on an epic quest, or interacting with magical creatures or enchanted objects. many of these stories teach virtues like bravery, honesty, or perseverance. So I went with this one because of the enchanted objects and epic quests. I have not read this one, obviously, because I've mentioned it before that I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. The end of the last one. Is it going to be as good as the first one? Because blah, blah, blah. Yeah, and I wasn't a big fan of the very ending necessarily anyway. But I am going to read the next one because I'm curious. So, um, I think we're going to have an epic quest of some kind. But we're definitely going to have an enchanted object because she literally interacted with the very end of the last book. And the implication is that that's where the next book starts. We'll see. But if it doesn't, then I'll pick a new book and we'll figure something out. But for now, I'm pretty sure it'll fit. Then we're getting to Animal, which I'm choosing Storm of Locusts. I double checked the same, I guess I haven't done it yet. The same mythos was going to be included. I didn't look at anything else other than the fact I said, is there, what gods are included in this book when I was looking it up to see, will it find anything? And it did mention one god that was in the first book, and then another creature happened to be there as well that was listed. Did I just type it wrong? No, I haven't done it, so I'll do that right here. It's a whole different book. By Rebecca Roanhorse. Anyways, and so there are at least 2 creatures that shape shift and or are a mythical creature that has a animal component, if not being an entire animal. So this one I'm 99.9% sure will be good on. But it says an animal is a particular kind of living organism, one that can move voluntarily and can find and digest food. It's an interesting way to define an animal. I didn't think about it like that, but it's accurate. In folklore, animals can be divine messengers, shapeshifters, or mythical creatures, and they can act as moral guides, tricksters, protectors, or villains. Animals often embody human traits and cultural values. I forgot my comma. Done. So yeah, I'm going with Storm of Locusts. Next up is amore, the Italian word for love. It can refer to romantic love, family love, love for a friend, or even love for an activity or interest. In folklore, amore often involves magic, an obstacle or test, as well as dramatic transformations that can lead to immortality, tragic death, or symbolic representation. Of course, there are stories in folklore where the characters live happily ever after. Hopefully, she does not mind that I am literally using her words here, but if so, let me know. I will adjust it. But I really liked them. I thought they were nice, and so I wanted to put them in my journal. All right, the book that I plan on using for this is Stars Above, and I have mentioned this book a few times in recent months as wanting to read it, so I'm excited to get it actually on the TBR for February. And I chose this one because, well, it specifically talks about love. I mean, this is the epilogue for several of our characters. I'm pretty darn sure there's going to be a wedding or something, an engagement or something in here. There has to be. You have 4 love stories. There has to be a wedding or an engagement or something in the epilogues and the after story. It's not actually an epilogue. It's like stories after. But if there's not, I can pick another one. I'm reading tons of romances next month, most likely, because we're doing Romanceopoly, right? So I can very easily replace it if for some reason my assumption does not pan out because I didn't want to read too much into it, right? I want to be surprised because I enjoy this one. Anyways, pretty sure another option I could potentially use would be anything that has to do with tragic deaths, immortality, etc. So there's quite a few fantasy books I could potentially pull in here as well. And apparently when I was typing, I forgot a bunch of commas. So I may go back and check that because that is something that bugs me personally. Not like y'all can do whatever you desire. I like my Oxford commas. Okay, abracadabra. Legendborn is the one I chose for this one. If I can spell. And it's a magical charm. Oh, apparently I don't have it. Magical charm or word you can say or shout when you want something to change or appear. Abracadabra will represent magic for Folklore February, and folklore magic includes folk art, supernatural beings, and enchanted objects. Help hinder heroes, transform characters, or teach them about consequences. there are pretty much a million things. I could use anything with wizards, mages, witches, um, a lot of paranormal books generally will fit into this. So for example, if I wanted to do Shadow's End, supernatural beings would fit there. That's not the one we're doing though. We're looking for Legendborn because I have put off, well not put off, but I've been waiting for this book and I am 99% sure I'm going to get it in the next 3 weeks. Fingers crossed. Maybe 4, but that will still fall within February. So I would like to read it. Because I wanted to last year and I never got around to it because it was just always checked out and had a long hold, which hopefully means it's amazing. If y'all have read it, well, let me know because I'm excited for it. Okay, do I not have it somewhere in here? I may have missed it. I definitely have the picture because I have used it in the recent past when I was doing my Herkid 1.0. There it is. I was literally looking at it a minute ago. All right. Oh, I like that this like matches kind of with the vibe here. Fabulous. I didn't even think about that. All right. Next thing. It was not on the announcement, but it was in the Discord that there is a sort of bonus prompt. So I don't actually have a picture for the bonus prompt, so I'm not sure what we're going to do for that. But the bonus is watch a screen adaptation of your favorite folktale, fairy tale, tall tale, fable, legend, or myth. I don't have a favorite. I just don't, unfortunately. I like a lot of things. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do for this one. I'm sort of going to maybe probably let it go, see, let it go, which would fit because it's an adaptation of a fairy tale. By the way, it's not a one for one, but it is based on, or at least the original draft was based on a fairy tale, and then they took it into like a whole different direction. Frozen, by the way. In case that wasn't obvious, my brain goes all over the place. It's it's fun in here. All right, so do I have anything that I can use for that? I don't think so. We may just need to pick a different thing altogether. So let's go into our elements, get out of frames, and then I want to search for the word bonus. Is there anything I could potentially go with something here? Or I could go, let's look at movie maybe, because it is screen adaptation. Let's look at photos for movie. Could do something like that. Oh, I didn't mean to do that, sorry. Maybe this one. No. That didn't work out as well. I mean, I could make it bigger, but I kind of like the same format. Do, 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 do. That's nice. I don't mind that one. It's very basic, but not too bad. All right, so I do think I want to put this back where it was. So the best, easiest way to do that is to just paste this over. That automatically deletes once it's empty. And then put that here. No, I don't like it. I'm going to move it down. Looks a little nicer down here, I think. Anyway, so that's the first bit. Then we are going to do this lovely guy, and we're going to duplicate it, bring her down, and replace that one with this one. So we're going the other direction. And then I don't think I'm going to need any of these. I'm going to go ahead and just delete them. We're going to make a copy again of this one, duplicate, bring her down to the end. Be careful. If you go too far, it won't. You know what? We're not going to play that game. Done. All right, so these guys are not necessarily books, so I don't think I'm going to need this. Most likely what I'm going to do is scooch this over and turn the frame sideways and remove the stars if I'm not watching or not reading a book or watching a movie for it. I'll leave it on there if there's going to be books or movies. But then I can take a picture of whatever I made. So if I'm, for the first one, as an example, it's going to be craft. So whatever my craft is, I misspelled marble. Did I misspell marble skeleton? I did marble. There you go. Is it just one E that I missed? If so, that's really good. Ha! Off by one letter, and I think that was because I was typing too fast. All right, I was proud of myself. I literally was like, I don't know if I spelled Rumpelstiltskin right. It looks a little funky, but it's close. All right, anyways, I don't know why that didn't show up in Google, whatever their version of Word is called. Sheet? No, that's the Excel version. Whatever it is, as being respelled, but whatevs. So whatever my picture is, I'm not watching a movie for this one. I could technically read a book for it. It says you can do whatever you want if you want to read a book, if you want to watch a movie, you can sub any of these out. But since this is going to be a craft, I think I'm going to turn this guy sideways because the likelihood. Now, I'm going to leave it alone, and then depending on what the craft is. If I just color a coloring page, then upright, vertical, vertical orientation makes the most sense, which is an option. I wrote down that technically completed the journal would be a craft, but I'm doing it before February. As you can see in the bottom screen, it is almost midnight. Whoops. You'll get to experience midnight with me here in a second. But yeah, I would need to actually do it in February to count, in my opinion. So I probably will do something from coloring book because that's pretty simple, and I don't think I'm going to have the time to do any major crafting. My hand goes to sleep when I was in a car accident, and I used to be a big cross stitcher, and now I can really only do small amounts of cross stitching before my entire hand and then part of my arm will go to sleep. So I don't typically do large projects. I usually do small ones. I did some not too long ago that are on my wall. You can't see them because they're behind the curtain is up here and it's on the wall. But yeah, I don't know that I'm gonna have enough time because I have to do it in such short bursts in order to keep feeling in my hand that I don't think I can get something done in a month. So coloring I can do, and I like coloring. I have several coloring books on my shelf, so maybe that's the way I'll go. And I have a Disney princess book, and that's probably the easiest one. But I'll see if I have anything else over there that is folklore-ish inspired. That's a lot of chatting for that. All right, next is the mirror, and I do not actually like this picture. So I will probably go and replace this one. I like most of the other ones. The craft one, it wasn't my favorite, but it works thematically. This one I don't love. I don't think that it has mirror vibes. So I'm gonna pick a different one. All the other ones I really liked, obviously I've said that, but that one I don't love. So let's go back to elements. And I want to start here rather than going out and searching on Google, just because I know that I'm able to use these because I do pay for a Canva subscription so that I'm able to, use any of the graphics I want and I can put them on YouTube and there's no issues there. But you can also, just look at free ones if that is something you're looking for. And it's anything you have here, as long as it is, on the free version, it's completely cool to use as far as I can tell from what I've read. Anyways, so we're going to look for mirror, and then I'm going to go look. I don't want videos. I want photos, but I want long photos. Ooh, I like this one. I may go that route. It's got magic-y vibes. I mean, it's just flowers, but it's pretty. I like this one too, but it's not gonna, doesn't look as good because of the sizing. Can do this one, but I don't really like having faces generally. But anyway, like the Evil Queen and Snow White, we can see things or watch things during the month. It's going to TV shows, movies, YouTube videos, blah 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 blah. So I'm probably going to choose a Disney movie or some other fairy tale ish movie on Netflix or any of the other subscriptions that we have, which isn't that many really. But I'm going to keep this upright because it'll be a movie. But I do actually want these guys back for this one. So let's delete that and then paste that in because I want to be able to rate the movie. I think I'm going with this one for now. I like it. All right, then we're going to duplicate, go to the next one, which is potions. And like ambrosia and nectar, the food and drink of the Greek gods, we can eat and drink our own elixir of life inspired by folkloric stories. This could include cocktails and mocktails as well as snacks that are related to your favorite fairy tale. Here's a question. Should I include these stars? Because I'm going to make a recipe. Specifically, I'm going to make porridge. Is it a boring recipe? Yes. But I have all the ingredients and I will eat it. A lot of the stuff I was able to find are like inclusive of especially mocktails and cocktails, because I looked at that specifically first. It is very much inclusive of a ton of different things that I don't have in my home bar. I have to go out and buy them, and that gets expensive real quick, especially when you have more than one item. Or they were recipes that were going to be overly complicated and would not necessarily work with my family. So if you have good recipes that are not porridge, let me know. But porridge is yummy. And it's something that I can make gluten free. And that's the other problem that with a lot of the recipes I found is that they were going to be really difficult to make gluten free, and I cannot have gluten. My husband can. But if I make something, I ideally like to make for both of us. Not always. I'll make him bread sometimes, even though I can't have it. Um, or I will, make him his pasta noodles and make my pasta noodles and just have a sauce we can add or taco shells or whatever. But generally speaking, if I'm making something, I want to try to make it gluten free so we can both have it and both enjoy it. Um, so yeah, if you know of any good recipes, please let me know because right now my goal is porridge from Goldilocks and the Three Bears, specifically making it a little bit nicer and like adding spices and butter and nuts and things like that because it says I've got a recipe. Anywho's, if I end up doing something that has a recipe, I will put the recipe on the next page, as well as maybe some additional photos. But for now, since I think it's just me porridge, which is pretty basic, I'll just put a picture here, rate the recipe, and then maybe put it on the bottom. If it doesn't fit, then maybe I'll make a, you know what? No, we're going to go ahead and do it. We're going to go ahead and go on so that I can do that one in a second. That's for the last one. And I want these two, and I want this one. I bring you over, and recipe text here. Once I get determine the recipe is going to be very basic if it's porridge. But if I find something else, awesome. And I may go in and add other pictures if... No, I like that. If it's porridge, I don't know that I'll have a pretty picture. Maybe I'll do like the ingredients or something. Make a spread there so it looks nice. Anyway, that's the plan. Then we'll go to the last one, which is reimagine. I don't necessarily know that this is... Oh, I forgot that I need to add the word mirror. I'll go back and fix that in a minute. Reimagine here. This is the hardest one for me, and I am probably going to do a book because I don't necessarily know that I want to write anything. It's been so difficult. I've got a lot going on in my brain, and by the time I get to the end of the day, my brain is just dead with work right now, and I need a lot of brain power to get creativity moving to be able to do writing. I haven't had that ability for a little while now with work. Work is very overwhelming at the moment. So I don't know that I'm gonna do this, but like you can see here, like Madeline Miller did with Circe, we can reimagine our favorite folkloric stories, poetry, art, a story, think fan fiction by changing the point of view, setting, or time period, switching or blending genres, maybe even creating a prequel or sequel. So yes, I could do art, or I could do like a collage or something like that, which is art. Um, I just don't know that I want to put myself in that. So I have two options. I don't think I downloaded. I'm pretty sure I didn't download either of these books into because I didn't think about it. No, I wouldn't be there. They'd be in the images. They would be at the top. No, I did not. So let me grab those. I'm gonna probably be reading Fairest of All by Valentino because I've not read it yet, and I figure it fits really well. And then I could watch also like Snow White, and yeah, I could make a day of it on a weekend. So I would like to grab that book real quick and save. We're gonna save this as Fairest of All by Serena Valentino. Save and then upload. I'm remembering to tag almost always. This one I can delete because I literally couldn't find it, but I know I have it. And same for this one. I was using them in something earlier. Okay, Fairest of All. So it's all there. I need to go back, like I mentioned, and add the word mirror because all the other ones, as you can see, have the word. This one doesn't because I pulled it from elsewhere. So let's grab text, and we are at 45 minutes, which is right around where I thought we'd be. Subheading, and we're gonna write the word mirror, and then let's pick a pretty font. I want a handwriting font because that is my favorites, and I think it fits with this vibe. Like I could go with Brittany, which is pretty, but none of the other ones are quite that thin. We use that one. You can see that one's over here. What about Celadine? That's pretty. Do we want to put it maybe over here and then I don't know if I like that color. Are they all white? Okay, yeah, so I need to make this one white so it's the same. This is overly complicated. I'm not going to bother with that. That's dumb. We're just going to go with white. It'll be fine. All right. It's not my favorite, but I don't hate it. So I may come back and change it, but for now I think it works fine. All right. So we have all of that done. I have done all the things I planned on doing with the exception of the ABC adventure, which is going to be here in a second. But this. Here's where I am conflicted. I could turn this just into a fun thing and be like, these are the things that we're doing. But I usually like to use bingo cards where I put the cover in there. And I don't know that that's going to work because the covers won't fit. So like if I go in here and I grab a frame, for instance, even if I make it fairly, so that's gonna be about the right. Like it won't fit, and if I make it even smaller so that it will fit, I'm just gonna make that's gonna look better. It's gonna be pretty tiny, and I'm gonna cover up all of the pictures that are on there. So do I want to bother with that, or do I want to just have it as a pretty picture? Like these are the things we're doing, and then getting into breaking it down. I could very much put a thing over here that says maybe this month we will there will be 9 optional prompts, both reading and otherwise. Oh no, together that can be used to structure your experience with folklore. And just leave it at that. Let's go back over here and I want a curved arrow. Come on. All right, first off, we're going to do this, turn it 180, and then we're going to flip it horizontally. Make it a little smaller. Change the color to match this. I like that because then I'm not covering up the pretty pictures that are on there, and I'm not trying to make it fit the book covers in a way that I don't love. So I think that's the way we're going to go for it. I may come back and adjust the verbiage a little bit. I'm not sure. But for now, that is good. And honestly, once I'm done with these creations, it's not done. Like I'm getting in there throughout the month and making adjustments and making changes, etc. As I put things in and put the stars in, etc. Obviously. But like if I read something and I'm like, oh, I forgot to do XYZ, or something else came out as example, like maybe she put out a new graphic, or there was a random pop-up prompt that is going to be, halfway through the month, she added an additional bonus one, whatever it is, I'm going to go in and add that to this. And then next year, if I do the same thing, I will likely, add a thing that says 2026. So it looks like it's like similar font, or go completely off and do this font, whatever. I'll do like 2026 and then create a divider and do the next year in 2027. I like to keep the challenge in the same place. I did not do that for 52 books, and I did not do that for Dollycast because I had not done this type of journal before. I was doing single pages and not going in and creating spreads, just as an FYI. Now, other things I'm going to need. I went over here. Come on, I want to open, but I want to open it on another page. Not going to let me, is it? Okay, hold on. We're just going to have to go in this way. I want to open pretty much anything with an ABC challenge. So let's go with the Her Kit. Her Kit has ABC challenges. Just because this will be faster. I don't want to keep everybody on here to show you exactly how I do every single one when it's going to be the same exact way every time. So here's my alphabet challenge. Copy everything that's on this page, bring it over to my alphabet challenge, which is at the very, very end, and then paste it. Then I have to go in and change all of these lovely stars just like we did. Now, this is way faster if I do it this way, but if I'm starting completely from scratch, then I just create them like I did before. And oh, is it this color? I think it's that color. No, that's wrong. There we go. Create it like I did before, and then go back in and make that change. And I know what the problem is now that I'm thinking about it. Is that not what I did? Okay, it just looks funky when it's small. These guys also need to be switched, but I'll do that next. Let me go and delete these so I can not have to worry about the colors showing up. It will show you whatever pictures you have put onto the page as options, just as an FYI. If you're like, how come the colors like keep changing? It's because you're adding more stuff to it. So if you know what your color codes are going to be, you can also just copy that color hex code, and it'll. I think they use hex codes if I remember right. Never does that, then you just have to go, and I don't fight it anymore. I just start over and finish it up because it's just too many. And I'm clicking shift in case you didn't know how to do more than one at a time. You will not be able to do every kind of element at the same time. So you can do all your shapes at the same time, but you can't include frames at the same time as you're doing shapes, as an example. Okay, so all those are done. Now we're going to do all of our frames because I can do all of those together. We're going with the yellow so it matches the wrist. And then we're going to click out, and then we're going to do all of these guys. If it looks like it takes a while, that's because it does, which is why I'm not recreating them completely from scratch. The easiest way to do that, if you're having to go from scratch, is to create one, and then copy it into however many you need for your row, and then copy the entire row, and then drag that down to where you want it. That is the fastest way I've been able to find. So, what color were we using for everything else over here? Okay, I think that's fine. So we'll come back over here and we'll take all of these. They're all sticking out the bottom on purpose because then I can grab them. They also look a little nicer, in my opinion, that way, but they don't have to be this exact way. I also have some, oh, I don't like that. I'll think about it. I also have some where I literally have moved them over to the side. That's also an option because then it looks nice and you're not having to worry about it being like in the middle of a picture. And I think that's the route I'm going to go for this one. And obviously if you've got them all selected, it's easy to drag them over. And then I need to update this one, which I'm not even going to do that. I'm just going to copy this and bring it over and to say ABC challenge because that's what it's called. And for this one, if I was doing a different book for every single one, that's how it would be. Just I wanted to show you how that's done. But this ABC challenge is a little bit different. So let me go and pull that up real quick. Uploads, designs, Folklore February. We have two options. We have this one, which is really pretty. Okay. And then I also have this one, which looks like this. And I don't think that's the way I want to go. I think I want to go with this one. I could go in with text for every single one of these, make it smaller and say just the word text because that's easier. And then make it to the left aligned so that it'll work. And then go in and put it on every single one. That is an option. I'm leaning towards doing both, that and this other one, with the exception of I'm going to have to delete all the stars that I just changed because I was talking and not thinking about it. I don't actually need the stars. Because this ABC challenge is that you will find things as you're reading that fit the prompt. So maybe you are looking at Snow White and you have Maleficent, so that would be your M. And then you have Snow White, so that could be your S, etc. Or you're reading Goldilocks and the Three Bears, so you've got Goldilocks, then you have Bear, or you have Rumpelstiltskin for your R. If you're like, you could literally get more than one per book, so we don't need books necessarily, we need items. So I want to still put pictures in of whatever it is, and then I'm going to put text underneath to say where it came from. So can I make this happen the way I'm thinking about it? Will that work? We'll give it a try. So let me go back over here, grab this text, which is in one little font because I need to change this to match anyway. Come on. and then I can go in and adjust it when I get done here. After. I won't make you sit with me for all of them. I wanted to copy this. Copy, paste. And then I will be able to, that's not what I wanted. That one, by the way, I'll tell you what I mean. If I were to click this, that means every letter will be capitals. Just FYI, if you're ever wanting an all capital thing, that's the fastest way to do that. And it stays all capital until you change it. So, like say, I know I'm going to be reading the Maleficent one, right? So let me go ahead and just put this down here. I'll go and do the rest of it off screen so you're not having to sit with me. But I would say Maleficent, is that how you spell Maleficent? Snow White. Or maybe I'll just put where it's from as Snow White, because I'll have a picture of Maleficent and I'll put that there. At least that's how I'm thinking about it. And then obviously I've got the word over here too, so I'll have both. But I kind of want it to be, it'll need to be centered for this one. That way it'll go exactly between the two. There we go. What do y'all think? If I put a picture of Maleficent, let me grab a picture of Maleficent. Which one do I want to use? Do I want to use, I'll use old school, because I'm probably going to watch a Disney movie. Do I think that you should take things and put them on here that are from other IP without approval? No. We're doing this for an example, and then I can remove it. But, because the books, they're there for, because you're reviewing them, so that's not an issue. But for this, I don't know. I'd have to look into IP for that one. But anyway, so I have Snow White and there's Maleficent. There, hopefully that makes sense. Anyway, that's the end. I'm going to go through and put these all underneath of every single one and then put text on every single line. And then I'm done. I'm not going to make you sit with me for another probably 10 minutes while I do it because we're already an hour in. But hopefully this is both a plan with me and also sort of a, hey, this is what we're doing. This is how I do my journals, and they're really not difficult to make. And once you've made one, you can very easily do them. Because usually I pulled stuff from other places to speed up the process. I find it's fun, it's creative, and I get to think about how I want to put things on there. As I go through, sometimes I'll add little extra things like I've done in my Irelium ones, where this is an example. Let's pull up Kira's. When I was going in and doing that, I was saying, okay, this is Kira's font. So if you look at Elenis has a different font because this is supposed to be her actual handwriting. And I was like, okay, so how would Kira write versus how would Elenis write? It's like, well, Kira would be very matter of fact. She'd probably be writing in more of a non-cursive script, and it would need to be very meticulous. So this is the closest I could find for that versus Elenis, which her font is much more pretty and it's not as easy to read, but I feel like that's more her personality. So I was able to do things like that. And then I went in and like put little drawings, and these are supposed to be doodles that they did at each location. And you can kind of see they're all supposed to look like the same color as the writing. They're all doodles throughout the entire thing. And then, okay, well, we cut pieces of the map out, and this is, we literally cut up our stuff and popped them on there, and she's adding logos. This is like she's creating her actual journal because that was the thought behind it. So those ones get to be more fun, but you kind of, yeah, it just depends on the vibe. You've seen the Romanceopoly one, which is very much like, here, each location, and da-da-da-da-da. But they're all very different because I find them fun to make, and I try to make them sort of fit the vibe of what's going on. So if I have graphics that are provided by the host, I definitely try to incorporate those as much as possible because they've worked really hard on them. And I find that helps me bring the vibe over because then I have things to match to. I have a style that I want to try to match as much as possible. Like I thought about changing these to rounded rectangles so they'd have the same rounded, but I decided not to because that was it was just a change I decided I didn't feel like making. I thought that was fine the way it was. But I was thinking, well, should I make it rounded rectangle so that it fits better? And anyway, they're fun, they're creative. Hopefully, this gives you a sort of quick rundown on some of the basic things that you can do in Canva, how you might be able to do them. If you have questions on specifically like how to do certain things that you're seeing in a journal that maybe I didn't talk about, or you're like, do you know how to do XYZ? If I know, I will gladly tell you how. I think I have a couple times in comments already been like, oh, we just do this, that, and the other, and that'll give you what you're looking for. I am by no means an expert, but I am learning, and if I don't know how, it'll be a fun adventure to see if I can figure it out, because why not? So let me delete this and make this say text, so that we go into this clean for the beginning. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!